This lecture begins part 3 of our class. So remember, part 1 was social cognition, part 2 was social influence. Now we're beginning part 3, which is social relationships, beginning with stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination. As normal, we're going to begin with 2 questionnaires. If you haven't already done them, you will want to stop, pause, and take questionnaire number 9. Here's how you score it, in questionnaire number 10. Okay, so questionnaire number 9, the possible range is 15 to 105. The possible range is 15 to 105. Questionnaire 10, the possible range is 18 to 90. 18 to 90. And again, we're going to start with thought questions. What does driving while black mean? What do prejudice, germs, and cockroaches have in common? Are bigots always aware that they are prejudiced? We hear a lot about racism and sexism. What other kinds of prejudice are prevalent in the United States? On February 4, 1999, Amadou Diallo, a West African immigrant living in New York City, was hanging out on the steps outside his apartment building entrance in a predominantly black neighborhood when 4 undercover police officers spotted him. They had been informed of a rapist in the neighborhood who had been described as black and about Amadou's average height and build. As they approached, Amadou turned to go inside, and they yelled for him to stop and put his hands in the air. With his back still facing them, Amadou reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. Believing it was a gun, all 4 officers opened fire on him, shooting 41 bullets, 19 of which entered his body. Why did Amadou pull his wallet? If he didn't understand their command and or believe that they were police officers because of the plain clothes they were wearing, he was likely trying to avoid being jumped for the wallet by offering it. If he did believe they were police officers, he was likely wanting to show them his ID and that he had legal papers. This shooting prompted a series of social psychological studies on racial profiling, a shooting bias, and shooting contagion. Was this a tragic example of racial profiling? And are innocent minorities more likely to get shot in error than innocent Caucasians? While we can only speculate about this particular case, we can look to social psychological research for tendencies. Simple statistics clearly show that racial profiling was a reality and still is today. There is a disproportionate number of stops and arrests of people of color by police. What is the nickname for this phenomenon? If you guessed driving while black, you are correct. It was a social psychologist by the name of Carell who was the first inspired to investigate this second question of a shooting bias. He had students play a virtual game which put them in the shoes, so to speak, of a police officer. They were confronted with innocent and guilty suspects on the street who reached into their pockets and withdrew an object. Students had to try to identify and protect the lives of the innocent suspects while shooting the guilty ones before they themselves were shot. Carell found a clear shooting bias. Innocent suspects were significantly more likely to get shot if they were black. But these were students, right? They have no police training, and besides training, the police face far harsher consequences for shooting the innocent. Other researchers did the same game with police officers. While the officers were less likely to shoot innocent victims than students, they still showed a significant shooting bias. As you can imagine, the police have mixed reactions to these studies. Many were genuinely concerned, wanting researchers to study this further for possible solutions. Others were defensive, and it is no surprise, as our topic today, stereotyping, prejudice, and discrimination, is a loaded subject.